Hello, and we are back. I'm very sorry for that. With 15 minutes left of the broadcast, a technical glitch happened and it shut down.
It was just because they knew I was coming to join you. It happens to me a lot. How the hell do we shut him up? Shut it down.
This is the second time.
Do it. Can't zip my mouth.
This is the second time that this happened, as I know of. I don't know why.
Well, the thing is, is my theme is that we pay too much attention to allowing technology to steer us instead of us steering technology to help us.
Yes.
It is far from perfect in many ways, and we just have to be aware of this.
They want us all on technology all the time now.
Sorry?
They want us all on technology all the time now.
There are people in little basements somewhere who sit down and try to figure out these things and how to confuse it for us.
Yeah.
And the more complicated they get, the more likely it is to actually fall apart. I mean, one of the lovely examples, and I'm really sorry, is the rocket that is to go to the moon. Apparently it's a million pieces to put this rocket together, and they have got to get everything right on the day, and they haven't. A leak in a fuel tank, you would think, how the hell can a leak in a fuel tank? But when you think about it, how do they inspect it for tiny little leaks? It is not an easy thing, just that simple practice. Anyway, you have been with the Stuart, and you've had the gorgeous Jane in, having a little word from the side, which is terrific. So where were you when you were so...
We have a message here from Melissa Conte saying, "Good morning, Hurd and Haynes. You two look great. Thank you very much, Melissa."
Lovely. Good morning, Melissa. Yes, you're only doing this because you know that I'm in love with you and you've broken my heart. She's a real heartbreaker, Right, where were we?
Well, with the technology aspect.
Right.
I recently went to the bank yesterday, actually, or Monday. I went to the bank to get something sorted out. I wanted to open my savings account. And I went there, and I've been having some issues with the online banking system. It's just having issues. It won't let me log in or set up an account, sorry. So I went in and said, "Can I please just set up a savings account in person?" They said no. I went, "Why not?" They said, "Well, you're not allowed to set up a savings account. You have to do it online."
And the thing is that these people don't understand just how ludicrous they are. They ridicule themselves, and then they wonder why we have a go at them, or we have no confidence in them. It's just absolutely stupid. I don't know which bank it is, but Lloyd's made £8 billion profit last year. And if they can't actually get a few things right with £8 billion profit, instead of stuffing it into their own bloody pockets, then we are in desperate trouble. I don't understand. I do understand. So I keep on urging the government to look at banks. £8 billion profit. Supposing you said, let's cut that to £4 billion. And by helping out at a time of a national emergency, what we'll do is we'll cut the interest rates on bank accounts, on credit cards, on overdrafts, and so on. Will they do it? No, they will not. They would much rather stuff £8 million into their pockets, £8 billion into their pockets, and let the rest of us suffer. And then they're smart-ass people pay themselves 5 or 6 million, and then they strut around saying how wonderful they are for the economy.
Yeah.
BS.
Well, here's the thing. When I went to the bank, I went, "Can I set up a savings account?" And they went, "No." And I was like, "Why not?" And they said, "You're not allowed to set up a savings account in person anymore. You have to do it online," which was really annoying to me because I was getting stressed out because it wouldn't let me sign up for an online banking account.
How ridiculous this is!
And they said there is a possibility you can set up a savings account at the bank, but it would be worse interest rates if you set it up in person than doing it online.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So they're incentivizing.
Stuart, my dear chap, Stuart's lurking in the doorway there. Are you okay? You ready to go out and brave the world? The brave new world of Truss?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether I find it going.
Not feeling so hot.
No.
Oh dear, I am sorry to hear that.
Well, I thought I said I'd go to the bridge this afternoon, but
Well, don't force yourself. If it's better for you to tuck up in bed and
yeah, I know that. But I've got the 2 men's subs at home doing that flipping room. I don't want to get involved in that. That's really the end of it. My wife and my daughter.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I don't enjoy playing bridge at all. But I think if I was feeling off colour, it's the last thing I'd want to do.
Yeah. I'm feeling off colour.
Very, very clever game, bridge.
I don't know how to play it.
No, well, I
complicated.
played it at university, but
It's very complicated.
yeah. Oh, yeah, very.
Some
It
people
needs a
really-
brain, actually. It's a card game that needs a brain.
Very much
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I personally am a man for snap.
Snap.
Powers of observation.
What, you like slapping your hand down?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, with some of the headlines, they've all been the same. Liz Truss.
Right.
Every single headline was about Liz Truss. How do you feel that now she's in office?
Well, it's my
Do
view.
you feel a sense of hope, or do you
No, I don't. I've got a sense of foreboding, actually. But what I've said is I keep on reading about what she said she's going to do, and I look at the papers and comment of what they expect and the experts and so on and so forth. She has got to do one simple thing, in my view, and that is gain the trust of people. She's got to make sure that she is credible, and that then she can start to achieve things by having people back up. They can back up. Oh, good morning, Ollie. Ollie's wandered in. We get all the characters here in the White Hart Hotel. It's great being here in the morning. I love it. I come in at 7:30. The gorgeous Jane. Jane, come on here, Jane. Come on, let people see what I have first thing in the morning. Come on here. Come on. This is what I'm. This is the lady that welcomes me first thing in the morning. Gorgeous. She's always got a beam on her face. She has things ready for me. I could not come into a more welcoming atmosphere. The fact that she says bugger off when I walk through the door.
That's not true.
It's not true.
You're the highlight of my day.
Ah, there we are. Mutual admiration society.
Yeah, you haven't paid your bill.
I paid yours.
At least he doesn't run off and not pay his.
When you
Yeah,
ever
coming
see-
from you.
when you say that, you have never seen me run off.
All right, then poodle off.
Sleep off.
She's not gonna-
We have great fun here this morning. But to get back to Liz Truss,
Are you all right? Do you want
I really think that she has got to establish the fact that she is trustworthy, that she has got the interests of the country at heart, and that she is not just playing politics. We've had enough politics. Those minnows, those mini brains of MPs who are still apparently, there was one report that they're still plotting against her. I mean, what the hell do they think? Is it their private playground? No, it is not. You are representing us as people. You're representing us, and we expect a certain amount of application of what you're there for from you. And if you're not going to do it, quit. Have the courage of your convictions. Go for a by-election. Hand your resignation in. And if you win the by-election, go back, and then you can play your silly politics. But for the moment, it is absolutely appalling, your behavior. Appalling. Mind you, I don't think that you've got much between the ears. We don't have any MPs of any quality anymore.
I can't. I can only think of 2. Well, no, I can think of 1. Literally 1. How many MPs are there?
650.
Out of the 650 MPs, I can think of 1 that is only half decent, and that would be Kemi Badenoch.
Well, you have your favourites.
Yeah.
I suppose, really, that in generalising is out of the 650, there are perhaps 25 that are really worthwhile, that really, really do care for their country, do care why they're there, do make an application. And if I may say so, okay, he's a pal of mine, but we had here prior to the last election, an MP that really, really did care about his community, about his country. He was a thinking MP, and that's Norman Baker. And Norman is not everybody's cup of tea, but we are the poorer without him. And I am not a Liberal Democrat. Believe me, I am not a Liberal Democrat, which was his party. But I think that as an MP, he was someone that everybody should aspire to be.
Yeah, I would still like to do a sit-down interview with him if you could ever get that arranged.
Well,
I
next
would
time I talk to him, I talk to him fairly frequently. I'll ask him if he'll come in and be interviewed by you.
Yes.
In fact, I think he might be quite intrigued to be interviewed by an 18-year-old who has some very definite views that upset everybody, which is great.
Especially Stuart.
And he can give his response. I will ask him when I see him. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I've had my rant about. You asked me what I thought of Liz Truss. To be quite honest with you, in my view, I know that she was a cabinet minister, but she's come from nowhere. I don't really have any feel for the lady at all.
Well, she worked for Shell for 4 years before she was in Parliament, which I don't know if Stuart knows that, but I will let him know. She worked for Shell for 4 years.
Doing what? You know?
I can't remember. No, I'll have to have another look.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, that's something that I don't think many people have talked about. I mean, Shell is the big thing with Shell, and where I cross not swords, but have something to do with them is on the odd occasion I lecture on corporate social responsibility, and Shell has a big corporate social responsibility program because of oil spills and so on and so forth. The thing is that quite often what happens is that you say things as a CSR, you say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we believe in this, and you do something else, and that's known as greenwashing. Not whitewashing, but greenwashing.
Right.
So anyway, I'm leaving Liz Truss in no doubt that she's got to prove herself to me.
Yeah.
But that's fair enough. And what I said this morning when I was first on is I'm prepared, and this station is prepared to give her support for as long as we think that she is trying hard to look after her constituents. And I don't mean her constituents in her own constituency, but her constituents are everybody in the United Kingdom, in the British Isles.
Mm.
And if I think that she's doing that, we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. But if we think that she's just playing fast and loose, then I'm afraid she will come under our hammer, and we will let her know in no uncertain terms what we think.
Yeah. Well, me and Stuart were arguing this morning, and he did get on my nerves a little bit. He said every single Conservative voter are bigots, which I said was absolutely not true, completely false. And he said, he was just like, evidence, and I was like, well, it's anecdotal evidence, but I don't know anyone. Out of everyone I've ever met, ever in my life, I can only think of 2 or 3 people.
Well, what you'll get used to is the art of debate. And what you do is you say the most outrageous things to try and upset the other person, right? Don't fall for it.
Yes.
He's dreadful at that.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I just love watching you two together. And this is quite serious. I mean, first of all, the fact that you are one another's throats is good television. It's worth watching. It's better than watching a police drama. But secondly, because you disagree and because you discuss a lot of things, is much information comes out that wouldn't come out if you were just simply doing a report or you were just reading the news. You actually, between the two of you, bring out all sorts of things that people want to ask and want to know, and that nobody else is providing. So keep it up. Keep it up. But you'll learn the rules of debate. You'll learn the rules of debate.
I'll tell you, I say right now, I'm not very good at debate. I struggle a lot. Thinking of the words on the spot is very difficult for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I say quite publicly, I do not like interviewing politicians.
Yes.
Because they are taught to debate. They're not taught much else. They're not good for much else, but they are very good at debate. And quite often, even if I'm a sensible and experienced broadcaster, they can still tie me into knots. Actually, the modern way of trying to combat that by broadcasters, reporters, is that what they do is they give the answer to the question in the question themselves. So it sounds ludicrous. I won't mention any names, but there are several BBC reporters who actually answer the question in asking the question. And that doesn't give the politician any chance to say either yes or no. I mean, it's a technique, not a very good technique, but it is a technique. I personally prefer to let them try and tie me into knots because at some stage I'll make a telling point.
Mm.
Right. Okay. What else were we going to talk about?
We had in the Daily Mail here Liz Truss plans for the first month or so in office to get started. But overall, it's all just been about Liz Truss in the papers, and I'm kind of sick of talking about her already because every single story is about her. Turn the page, Liz Truss. Turn the page, Liz Truss.
Yeah.
Turn the page, Liz Truss. See, it's yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's it. Trust.
I don't-
Yes, trust.
I
He
don't-
writes Latin poetry and dropped an F-bomb on University Chancellor Britain's new 6'5" old Etonian Chancellor.
I don't want to say slow news day because it's not, but it's a one news
Well, it's
day.
a one news day. You're absolutely right. Is actually, let's just change the tack a little because one of the controversial things still is women's sport. A lot of people still say, well, we don't watch women's sport because it's not as exciting as men's and so on and so forth. Some women get very exorcised about it. But that pattern is changing, I think, don't you?
No, not really. I think the only reason we saw the change was because of the Women's World Cup at that was taking place in Brighton. So everyone around here was talking about it non-stop. Whether that's going to continue or whether that was just that one outlying thing, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, they played against Luxembourg last night. Not one of the great footballing nations, but apparently almost every seat was sold.
Really?
Yes, and that's football. Now, I am split on my view of football. I think that it's gone absolutely buck mad, paying ridiculous amounts of money to players.
I don't.
And you like to see all these huge salaries paid to players?
Yeah. So what? If you people get outraged so much about footballers get paid so much. Oh well, okay, you do it. I can't do it because I'm too fat and lazy
Yes,
to do so.
but actually, people with the same skills, such as Sir Stanley Matthews, were paid 10 and sixpence a week. It was considered to be a job, not a profession, and they thrilled crowds. I mean, do you know why professional football is such a big popular sport? Because in the late 1800s, workers, everybody went to work for 6.5 days a week. They had Sunday afternoon off, and footballers had to play on a Saturday afternoon. And so eventually the factory owners decided that they would give Saturday afternoon off to their workforce so that they could go and watch football. And that's how professional football was started and given a kickstart.
That's nice.
Right? Yeah. But they were workers. They weren't paid huge amounts of money. On the contrary. And yet they were very, very skillful. Very skillful. You're far too young, but I would recommend to you that what you do is you read a little or try and find a video on the Matthews final of 1953. It is still hailed as a classic. When Blackpool was playing, I think it was Bolton, but I'm not absolutely sure. But Blackpool, who were then in the First Division, which is the now Premier League, and Stanley Matthews played for them. And in the Cup final of 1953, they were 3-1 down at half time. and they came back, and Matthews kept on dribbling the ball down the wing and popping it over for his colleagues to pump it into the net with their heads and their feet and so on. And Blackpool won 4-3, known as the Matthews final. Now, those are brilliant days. I couldn't pronounce half the names of the people that we're paying £500 million to turn out on a Saturday.
No.
And
I think
to
I
be
can
quite
name-
honest with you, it has become such a science now. Why watch? You know what's going to happen is they will go to this end and then they go to that end. They will snuff out the attack and they will mount another one. Why not just watch the highlights? Then it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I can watch a football match in 2 minutes.
I've never watched a football match in my life.
Absolute sacrilege. I know all sorts of people watching. See, what an idiot Hayes is. Well, I may be,
I'm sure there
but
are lots
I've
of
got
people
my
saying
view on what happened to football. Is it the beautiful game? Yes, it is or was the beautiful game, and it's not anymore.
No.
It's been spoiled as a spectacle, and it's been spoiled because it is now a huge business, which is nonsense, right? My team is Aston Villa. How many people come from Aston? Or Birmingham, for that matter? Well, there was one, Jack Grealish. And where did he go to? Manchester. Manchester.
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Manchester City, I think.
I know nothing about
Yeah.
football.
Yes. The fact is, they're not local heroes or anything. I mean, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I think I can name 3 footballers.
Oh,
That's
you're
all.
lucky. You're more than I do. I can. And the other thing is, that it initiates violence, and secondly, is it's amazing how people's loyalty changes. I mean, Gareth
Southgate.
was a hero 12 months ago because he had revolutionised, according to the experts, England's football team. He loses 2 on the trot at the start of a new campaign, and he is the worst villain, and let's get rid of him, and so on and so forth. What sort of loyalty is that? It's loyalty to nothing. It's loyalty to nothing. All it is this intrigues us, right? This is our game. We don't care who the players are. We don't care who the coaches are. We don't care this, that, and the other. It's our game. Well, let go of your game. Go and play with yourselves in a park, for God's sake. You'll get more satisfaction.
Okay, don't play with yourself in a park. You could get in trouble for that. But play football in a park, yes.
Well, behind a bush.
What are you laughing about now?
Nothing. It's just been silly. I've got something to tell you. I don't know if you knew this, but Liz Truss, do you know who she used to work for 4 years?
No.
She worked for Shell for 4 years.
Yeah, I know. You did tell me that.
Did I? No, I didn't even say that somewhere else. Because I only found out
Right.
not long ago.
She used to be a liberal, apparently.
She probably was.
And she wanted to, and she was against Brexit. 100%.
They switch loyalties.
So you can't trust her at all. Ha ha ha.
Well, you can't trust any
It's a joke.
politician.
A trust.
Oh, trust, right. Yeah, well, no, you can't
Can
trust.
you trust her?
Can you trust any politician? Not really.
No, there are 650 of them, and they're all as bad as one another. And actually, the only group that are worse are the civil servants, because
Apart
they
from
really
that,
work.
apart
in
from
that.
that, you're happy with everybody, are you?
Oh, hang on. There are a few more people that have a go at.
But can you keep it away from my ears? It's really good my perilymph.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had a go at that ear. Is the next time we're together, you sit in that chair and I'll have a go at the other ear. Right.
All right. Well, it's 11:10 now, so that's quite good.
No, that's good. We could quit in a minute or two. But here's another controversial thing which I don't understand, because I quit smoking in 1980.
Yeah.
Now, is quite openly vaping is you can get your vapes here. This is a vape center and all the rest of it. And yet, I understand that experts say that it's not much better than smoking.
My younger brother vapes.
That's what I heard, but I don't know about smoking. I've never smoked.
Vaping is actually worse than smoking because what it does, it if you use it to an extreme degree, the water,
Well-
the vape liquid turns into water in your lungs, and it fills your lungs with water.
Yeah. Well, my wife says that she used to smoke about 4 days a day. And she says the reason you're going to live to be 100 is you've never, like your mother, you never smoked.
Well,
So there you are.
I've only ever smoked once and vaped once, and I was born asthmatic, so it kills me. It was unbelievable. It was so
the
painful.
Allocate I've had, that my wife goes around and tells people that Stuart's the only person at Sussex University in there, who were there, that never smoked a weed or never took LSD. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. There you go.
Well, you made up for it by
By the
drinking, because
yeah.
we were both part of the Northern Ireland culture while we were reporting over there.
Well, my daughter now with the Alzheimer's, she had a go at me. She said that, and the research shows that after 70, you really want to. I says, I don't believe in your research on anything.
Well, I mean,
I
if
told
it's
you that story about my Aunt Nora, didn't I?
yes, you did.
Yeah. Did I tell you that story?
No, but
Lived to 98 or something.
No. My mother lived to be 100.
yes.
My Uncle George lived to be 98. Uncle Bill lived to be 101. Aunt Nora was 92 when she came to my mother's 100th birthday party. And she sent me out, I was at the party, she sent me out, get me 20 cigarettes called Chilton's or something like that. She smoked them, come back, and she said, Stuart, I drink gin and lemonade and go easy on the lemonade. So she smoked 20 cigarettes and drank 6 gin and tonics. And she lived to be 104.
Yeah.
My great granddad smoked for 81 years
Yeah.
and didn't have. Well, he had severe COPD. We didn't get any sort of cancer.
Yeah.
And he did die because of the smoking eventually.
I'll tell you something. I think that smoking, drinking, etc., and all the things that the health industry tell you are bad for you are secondary to if you've got a lust for life, that will keep you going. I don't want to die. Not that I'm afraid of dying, but I don't want to die. I'm enjoying myself too much on this planet. So don't take it away from me.
What actually keeps you going is that you've got something to do.
That's why the Japanese live so long.
But Japanese,
Because they don't retire.
No, you know why the Japanese live so long, don't you?
Why?
Because they eat fish.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's actually true. Japanese. I've been to Japan several times, and they eat fish and they eat all kinds of sort of things like that. Their diet's perfectly well.
Yeah, the diets
really
are very
is.
good.
Yeah.
And they don't retire, and they live to such an old age they get to see all their grandkids.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
No.
They're happy.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
why they live so long.
Here's one that really pleases me. A couple of months or so ago, it was reported that a lady could smell her husband's Parkinson's disease.
Well, that is what a load of rubbish.
Well, a load of rubbish. Now they've created a test based on odor that works.
Really?
Yeah. So you two rubbishing all this, and I've got Parkinson's, so I'm going to put it to the test. I see my consultant in about 2 months' time, and I'm going to say to her, Jane, can I please have a go at this test? Because my colleagues have rubbished it, and I want to see if it'll work. And I'm going to come in here, and boy, you two had better eat humble pie if it works.
You don't seem to understand. You've been deposed. We're in charge, not you.
Bloody hell.
You've been deposed.
A palace revolution. Actually, let me tell you my favorite story. Do either of you know how the term humble pie came about?
Yes.
No.
I know.
You know.
Yeah, because there was a rock band called Humble Pie.
Oh, there is one. Yeah, you're quite right. No, the reason that it is not actually humble pie. That is a corruption of it. It's humble pie.
Humble.
And humble were the innards of the deer,
Oh, really?
the heart, the liver, and so on. And in medieval times, at feast days, they would catch a deer out of their deer park. The deer, the venison, would go up to the manor or the castle, and the innards, the humble, would be left for the peasants, who then made humble pie out of it. And that is where the term came from, humble pie. You were humble if, in fact, you had humble pie.
So what you should do is put on your calling card this connoisseur of useless information.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's useless information that intrigues people. They don't want to know the reality. That's why there are so many pages of.
Oh, not many people know that. As Michael Caine would have said.
I find another mess you got
Do
me
you
into.
remember that? Do you
Yeah.
remember that? Do you know the actor Michael Caine? Do you know that?
I've heard of him, yeah.
When he was writing about things, when he was talking about things, he says, not many people know that.
Oh, here we are.
Oh.
Football's not a religion, says a judge.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. This judge, I think, football. A judge has ruled football is not a religion, but a lifestyle choice. After a man claimed he lost work because of the team he supports.
Who the hell?
He claimed that as a die-hard fan of Glasgow Rangers, he was subject to discrimination. Dear. They do get some. Dear. Oh, dear.
Ridiculous, honestly.
It is.
Oh, I found a story the other day, this morning actually, from The Guardian. Russia has been buying it weapon. Let me get it up and just quote it exactly. Russia buying millions of rockets and shells from North Korea, US intelligence say.
Oh, right.
So
they've got to buy it from somewhere, haven't they?
Well, they're not going to work.
Well, no, actually, in fairness,
in fairness to
the North Koreans have frightened the hell out of the Japanese because they've launched several rockets into I forget
sea.
which sea it is that the Ionian Sea. No, I forget which sea. I didn't know at one time. So and even if, as long as they get lift off, as long as they don't actually kill your own troops, as long as they kill. Yes. Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. I just didn't know whether it was 1 o'clock yet.
Is it wine? Is it wine time?
Yeah, but it's
Is it
only 11:15.
Keith's wine time.
Yeah.
It will be in 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes.
This is great stuff. This television program was designed to be exactly this: is to talk to people as they come in and out of the hotel. And we're delighted that the staff come and chat to us from time to time. Yesterday, I had Shannon and Kevin on, and they were very busy in the bar. Normally, we have the bar to ourselves. So I asked them what was going on, and they came and they explained that they were expecting up to 200 people for a funeral yesterday, and that they indeed had got to make sure that the stocks, the drink stocks and so on, were up to serving 200 people. Jane tells me that it could be anywhere from 150 to 200, but it was an awful lot of people in here yesterday. And it was the funeral of a bonfire, a member of the Bonfire Society, who was very prominent. So I'm not a bit surprised that he had a lot of people turn up for his funeral. Right, okay. We go retirement. Anything about retirement?
People, oh yes, so people after the retirement age, people are now going back to work because of the financial crisis. Retired people are working again.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because actually most people who are now retired have still got the work ethic. People who were working before the COVID is now they use the excuse of being able to work from home, which is an absolute disaster. I mean, that's why we all have to hang on to the phone for 3 or 4 hours, and you are 60th in the queue. Please hang on.
When did people start to lose work ethic, like young people?
Well, I think it's a direct result of COVID, to be quite honest with you. Well, I'm not absolutely
sure it's been going on before COVID.
But I mean, one of the things that happened in COVID, of course, is that people were paid not to work. They were given 80% of their salary not to go into work. And now to break that habit after such a generous handout is very difficult. And particularly since whatever else is said by Keir Starmer and the rest is our pension system, our social security system is pretty damn good. it pays out an awful lot of money for an awful lot of things. Okay, I think going through the insides of the paper, there are one or two things not about Liz Truss. It's 20 past the hour. Do you want to ask me anything more? Because if not, what we could do is we could say toodle pip. Although I must confess is I'm absolutely thrilled that we keep on getting people coming in. What happened to Ollie? He came in and he must have gone out. I didn't notice him going out. And we are getting characters in and people. This program is based on an old BBC television program called Pebble Mill at One. Older people will remember it, and the concept, which was developed and devised by a good friend of mine in the past, and certainly a mentor, was a chap called Phil Sidey, who was the executive producer at BBC Pebble Mill, Birmingham. And he said, look at this silly building that's been designed specifically for the BBC. And it's got this huge atrium with wasted space. So let's use it. And he set up what, to all intents and purposes, was a variety program with interviews and a little bit of music and a little bit of this. But he set it up so that anybody coming into the building walked through the middle of the set. So here you could have somebody being interviewed, some famous person being interviewed, and somebody coming in just to pick up a pint of milk would walk through the set and could say, hello, Joe, or hello, Fred, and that it made it real and that it showed that it wasn't divorced from reality, that it had an element of people doing ordinary things at ordinary times in an ordinary way. And that's what we really like. We love the fact that halfway through a very important discussion is somebody will come through. I mean, Max, the highlight of this was Max getting a gentleman who was Father Christmas for a third of the year in the United States. There he is. There's Ollie. He did escape and he's come back. So we've got our own list of characters, but we add to them by actually kidnapping people in the corridors.
Well, if I'm gonna, one last thing to end off on is tomorrow. Please tune in tomorrow. We have a very good show tomorrow. Me and Liza Page.
Right.
On a Thursday, after 9:30 to 10, she arrives.
That's right.
And then we do about an hour to an hour and a half, me and her. And that show will be very good. It's called Youth and Age. It's a very good show. I get along with Liza Page very well. She's a very lovely woman. And it's always going to be a good show with her. And I always can't wait for Thursdays.
I have a better show with her because I argue with her all the time. No, I'm telling fibs. Liza is good value for money. She is a former, she was a singer, and she went around the world singing, and she ended up in some of the craziest places like Vietnam and Cambodia, singing for the troops. But also she had, and this is where I think that is absolutely marvelous, she had her own talk show in Hollywood, and Hollywood, California, not Hollywood County Down. And no more area could be tougher to have that sort of show than Hollywood. So she cut her teeth in a real way. She now produces programs called Everybody's Got a Story, and we are going to show some of those programs the moment we're sure that we've got a stable picture. I have to say that some of them are very intriguing and some very interesting. Yes. That's Liza.
Yeah, it is. Can't wait. I am always excited for every Thursday now.
There you are.
So thank you very much for watching today. Thank you for coming in whilst Stuart left. And me and Stuart had a good show today. Lots of arguing, lots of disagreeing. But that's every Wednesday. That's every Wednesday.
Right.
Thank you very much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. And toodle pip.
Toodle pip indeed.